Hey my friends, how's it going? It's Ultimus, and for today's video I'm going to be trying something a little bit different in that I'm going to be talking about two classes in one video, mostly because I'm not going to have time to get my talks about Warriors and Demon Hunters out before patch 7.2 comes live. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can talk about some of the changes coming, and especially the new artifact traits coming to each class and spec. Minus the tank specs, because I don't actually know anything about them. I mean, I'll probably comment on them, but I won't have anything to share because I don't play any of them. But we're going to try to talk about both of them in one video to see how it goes. First one we're going to talk about is Warriors, and then the second class, of course, is Demon Hunter. So if you're here just for Demon Hunter stuff, that's going to be at the latter half of the video. But if you're here for Warrior stuff, then stick around. So for Warriors, we are getting, obviously, as with every other class and spec, we're getting 4 new artifact traits in each of our trees. So you get the 4 arms, 4 fury, 4 artifact traits, and there's a little bit of a change to charge. Let's just talk about charge right off the bat. We'll talk spells in general, and then we'll talk artifact traits. Not much really is changing for Warriors in 7.2 from what I can tell, except for this little tidbit here. It does see that you're going to be charging the enemy with charge, right? Dealing 70% of attack power physical damage, so they're adding damage to charge, and rooting it for 1 second, then reducing movement speed by 50% for 6 seconds, Warbringer, and stunning it for until canceled. So it looks to me like Warrior charge stun is back, or at least root. Really cool. And then a little extra damage from the charge, which I'm kind of a fan of. It makes sense, right? If you're charging a target, you're ramming into them so hard that they're going to be rooted for a little bit, more or less, stunned or incapacitated, depending on what talent you take. Taking some damage makes sense, so I'm okay with this. Having, and again, we're gonna talk about this again, so don't you be making fun of me. But having hamstring on the global cooldown again, and then after that having charge not root targets anymore, was a huge deal to Warriors in PvP for Legion, just because our mobility is nowhere near what other classes are, and it's really hard to stick on a target, especially with how 1 to 2 dimensional Warrior gameplay is right now. Like in PvP, you literally just train a target, there's hardly any swaps. It's just kind of how the game is right now for Warriors, and so this is important for sticking to your target. So I'm a big fan of that, plus the extra damage is never a bad thing. So from what I've been able to tell, this is making it the game. We're going to see this going live with patch 7.2 for Warriors, and this is in general, so it looks like across all specs. Now let's talk about the Arms Warrior artifact traits. We're going to do this right there. So we have the first one, Arms of the Valajar, increases damage by 10% and stamina by 10%. Now, and this is a talent you're going to find in all of the artifact traits, basically, and I believe it's across all specs and classes as well. So you have Arms of the Valajar, Fury of the Valajar, and Protection of the Valajar. So again, but in the case of the tank, apparently I can't talk right now. You're also getting increased damage by 10%, but also increased armor by 20% and increased stamina by 10%. So that's that. So increased damage 10%, stamina 10%. So same thing for arms across the board. So nothing too exciting, but just, there it is, adjusting damage and health to adjust with changing gear and things like that. New trait is going to be Storm of Swords, increases the damage of Ravager or Bladestorm by 5%. So that's kind of cool, especially because Bladestorm is pretty pitiful right now as far as damage is concerned for Warriors, especially Arms Warriors. Right now, Arms and Bladestorm function. Like, Bladestorm is more of a defensive cooldown or a utility cooldown than anything else. Like, you're just not going to kill much with it, unfortunately. So nice little buff to Bladestorm will be good, especially if it looks like there's 4 ranks in it. Looks like we're looking at 4 ranks in that. I don't know. I got to confirm that. 3 or 4. Either way, you're looking at, increments of 5% buffs. So, it's a good amount of damage. So that'll be nice. We have, next, we're looking at Soul of the Slaughter. Spending Rage has a 0.50% chance per rage spent to heal you for 1000% of attack power. As far as I know, this is accurate. This has not been changed or adjusted. The reason I'm a big fan of this is because I feel like this is, while I don't particularly enjoy the RNG in this as well, I definitely would have preferred some of the earlier renditions of, Arms Warrior self-healing and survivability, but this is a step in the right direction, or it's a better option than what we have right now. So on top of, the with your War Sword, you basically have the talent, the trait that makes it to where Mortal Strike is going to heal you for 3% of the damage dealt. But in this particular case, on top of that, you're going to have a 50% chance, or 0.50% chance, I should say, per rage spent to heal you for 1,000% of attack power. And I feel like this will potentially proc fairly often. Good numbers as far as 1,000% of attack power. I'm curious to see what this will actually look like. I feel like this will synergize quite well with the Blood of Zakaj, I think is what it's called, the one that heals you for 3% of the damage dealt, unless you've got just a bunch of artifact relics in it, then it's going to heal even more. So this might be a decent answer. We'll see how it helps Arms Warriors with survivability and being able to solo stuff and actually function without a healer. And now we have Executioner's Precision. Execute causes the target to take 50% more damage from your next Mortal Strike, stacking up to 2 times, which again, I'm already thinking this is going to synergize great with Mortal Combo. Again, especially if you have both stacks of Mortal Combo ready to go, it's going to increase the likelihood of you actually executing a target at 20% health. Like, throwing an execute in there, and it's not even a chance, which I'd like. It's just execute causes the target to take 50% more damage from your next Mortal Strike, stacking up to 2 times. So stuff like this is going to be great, especially with potentially Sharpened Blade, if you're not taking the Blade Storm talent. So I like some of the synergy we're getting here. I feel like while this doesn't necessarily fix some of the issues with Arms as a spec, I do feel like this might help. Not necessarily even a little bit. I feel like it'll help a decent amount. But again, I'll have to get my hands on it and actually see what it feels like and looks like in game. But I don't hate the idea of these traits, that's for sure. I feel like it's helpful. Not definitely what I would have added personally, but I guess that's why I'm not a game designer. The execute used to be just that. It used to be like execute was the finisher. Like if you got yourself around 20% when you were fighting a warrior, you started getting scared because you knew that fight was about to be over. And as a warrior, that was the best feeling because you're like, if I just get this dude down to 20%, this fight's basically over. And I like that. So seeing maybe not execute itself be the finisher, but at least aiding in the finisher. So I mean, I'll take it. And then Storm of Swords, I like, just because, again, fingers crossed, Blade Storm being a better cooldown, and Soul the Slaughter, hopefully helping Arms Warrior survivability even just a little bit. Again, stuff like this is great because it takes the pressure off your healer. Again, if your self-healing is up, they have to heal you less, obviously. And it just sucks as an Arms Warrior. Like, if you're ever caught in a position to where you're by yourself, you're pretty much screwed unless you have, a solid defensive cooldown left, and even then, if you're getting bursted on, there's not much you can do about it. So hopefully this should help with the viability of Arms in instance PvP, specifically 3s, in arenas across the board, but specifically 3s, and time will tell. I'm optimistic because Arms is still my favorite spec, even though I have been playing a lot of Fury, because Fury is just overall better right now for both PvE and PvP. When you're just trying to play both, Fury is the superior spec at the moment, as of 7.1.5 in 2 days before patch 7.2. So we already talked about Fury of the Valajar, not going to address that again. Pulse of Battle. Raging Blow critical strikes generate an additional 1 rage. So not super exciting, but useful. So it's kind of a bland talent, but it is useful. So I can't really, I feel like I can't say much really positive or negative about it. Looks like there are 4 ranks in it. So what the maximum rage we'll get out of critical strikes from Raging Blow, I don't know if it's going to be in increments of 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, or if we'll see it in like 1, 2, 4, 8, or something like that. I don't really know. And probably anyone that's played on the PTR can probably confirm, but I never even downloaded it. I haven't had a chance to. So Oathblood. You're looking at Bloodthirst has a 10% chance to trigger a second Bloodthirst. So that's kind of cool. So double Bloodthirst, I like it. And 10% is a decent chance. 10%. And obviously, if this up here for Soul of the Slaughter was 10%, that'd be a little bit ridiculous. But this is decent. So I like that a lot, especially if you synergize it well with Whirlwind, which causes, Bloodthirst to be the AoE attack that we all love it to be. So there's that. So kind of cool. Very, very... Again, it's one of those things where it's not the most exciting thing, I don't think, in the world, but it seems functional, so it's just good. And then lastly, Death and Glory, which is probably the coolest new warrior ability that I've seen coming in with the artifact traits. Odin's Fury is empowered by either Odin or Helia. Odin empowers Odin's Fury with 300% attack power, fire damage, and generates 20 rage. Helia empowers Odin's Fury with 300% of attack power, shadow damage, and heals you for 100% of the damage it deals. So, looking at the two, honest to God truth, unless this is synergizing in a way that I don't see right now, depending on what gear looks like in 7.2, what trinkets look like in 7.2, we'll have to wait and see. But Fury looks like it might be, especially because I think this is, like, I'm almost positive that this is not a passive. I'm pretty sure this is an active thing where you activate it and it cools down. So, confirmed I was wrong. I pulled up the talent calculator over here, and it looks like Death and Glory is in fact a passive. You have Oathblood is indeed a passive. Pulse of Battle is a passive. Lots of passives. So lots and lots of passives. And it's just for Fury. And then you've got the nice 0 out of 50 coordinates of Legion Fall. That should be wonderful. Abilities have a chance to trigger coordinates of Legion Fall, increasing versatility for 2,000 for 10 seconds. So there's that. And then it looks like all of these are passive as well. So, yeah, so there's that. So kind of cool that we were able to see that and actually confirm that I was wrong. Because I'm okay being wrong as long as the correct information is getting out there. So Fury looks pretty good overall. I feel like Fury's still going to pull ahead as the superior spec, but I'm hoping because I miss playing arms. So there's that. And then again, Prot, I honestly don't know anything about Prot. Like, I kind of casually derp around on Prot, but I don't even have my entire artifact tree filled out because I haven't bothered with it. I don't tank anything. It's just not a gameplay style I enjoy. So I'm just not going to comment on it because I'm not going to put false information out there. So I'm sure you guys can find plenty of other Prot Warrior videos out there by better qualified and smarter men than myself. So let's go ahead and move on to Demon Hunters. So moving on to Havoc Demon Hunters, the DPS spec. And again, much like with Warriors, I don't play the tank spec at all. It's just not the gameplay style that I enjoy. So I'm just not really going to comment on it just because, again, I don't want to put bad or false information out there or really just bumble on more like an idiot. So we're just going to talk about Havoc today in this video. The first one, of course, Illidari Ferocity, actually we talked about with Warriors, increased damage by 10%, stamina by 10%, so nothing super exciting there. And same thing for the tank spec, increases armor by 20% as well. Everything else is the same as that. New trait is Wild Eyes, reduces the cost of Eye Beam by 5 Fury, and that does look like it has 4 ranks in it. So what that stacks up to, I would imagine it'd be 20 if it goes in increments of 5, but we'll have to wait and see. Last is Blade Dancer's Grace, or not last, I should say, last or second to last. Increase the critical strike damage of Blade Dance by 20%. So whenever Blade Dance crits, with Blade Dance crits a lot, the damage is increased on that by additional 20%. So good stuff there. Continuing to emphasize Demon Hunters as the cleave machines. The amount of cleave damage my Demon Hunter does, and I'm sure if you play a Demon Hunter, you already know, is bonkers. It's just insane, and it's so satisfying. And then lastly this time, Chaotic Onslaught. Chaos Strike has a 10% chance to slash an additional time. So again, there it is. Even more, and especially if you take the talent, I believe that causes it to cleave, if I'm not mistaken, is an actual talent. I've been using the same build for so long, I've forgotten what Demon Hunter talents look like at the moment. Just because I've literally been playing the same spec for forever now, and I haven't bothered to look at my talent tree again. But either way, more damage is good. Helps with single target again, which is one of the things that got addressed with Demon Hunters for 7.1.5. They're lacking single target damage, which now is wonderful. And then, of course, we have Blade Dancer's Grace, which addresses the AoE damage situation, which is ever-growing and wonderful. So, overall, Havoc Demon Hunters looking strong. Still enjoy it. And then there's really nothing else changing as far as spells here, it looks like. All that's pretty much the same. It does mention for Vengeance Demon Hunters, your tattoos reduce all damage taken by 10. Now 20% increases your stamina by 55% and your armor by no longer 120% but 75%. So whatever that means for you tank demon hunters out there, there you go. Looks like some balancing things, some buffs on the, reduce all damage taken, but then some nerfs on the amount of armor you get. So there's that. Either way, I'm still looking forward to playing both classes, and I plan on playing both classes through 7.2. I'm having a blast with them. A Demon Hunter is a wonderful alt to have in comparison to my Warrior. Still similar play style as far as it's a melee class, which is what I enjoy. And it seems to be what I'm the most good at. But it is different enough to where I don't feel like I'm playing the same thing, which was the problem that I ran into on my Death Knight. I played my Death Knight for a long time, and I just felt like I was playing something too similar to a Warrior, which was kind of a comfortable alt to have, but it didn't really feel as satisfying. So overall, definitely enjoying the Demon Hunter more than I ever enjoyed my Death Knight. So yeah, good stuff. Overall, again, looking forward to the patch. Gonna be a good time. I'm having fun with it. Looking forward to some of the changes. Massive amounts of content coming in 7.2. So everything from this point on, by the time you guys get done with this video, you'll see 7.2 content. We'll be talking about what's coming out then, what I'll be spending my time doing. I'll find a way to get videos out there for you guys as well on that, doing anything that I find to be interesting and worth sharing. But yeah, I swear I'm actually done this time. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you did enjoy, if you haven't done so already. And of course, you can follow me on all the different social media platforms that we got listed around the channel. I'll list them off here. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. And of course, there's a Facebook page. But I'm pretty active on Instagram and Twitter more than anything else. So if you want to get in contact with me, just goof off, whatever it is, follow me there. I tend to document my days throughout the day pretty consistently. So there's that. But yeah, done. That's it. I'll see you guys in 7.2. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.